Just because you come from a broken home does not mean that has to be your reality as well. I personally come from a broken home, meaning my parents were unhappy together and they ended up divorced. However, I did not see this as a life sentence. Ever since I was young, I knew that I would have a healthy partnership that would last for life, and I knew that it was out there. Even though I hadn't seen it, even though I hadn't witnessed it, I knew that was meant for me. So in this video, I will be sharing 10 things that you can start believing, implementing, and thinking about to really help you step out of this narrative that broken homes are just vicious cycles that will be repeated regardless of your actions or anything you do. I think it's so stupid that people spit out divorce statistics as a way to say like, oh, well, marriages don't work, like I'm not gonna even try, look at everyone who's getting divorced, and it's just such a narrow-minded way of thinking. Think back to when we had vehicles, but when airbags weren't invented yet. Did people just say, oh, everyone's dying in car crashes, we need to just let go of vehicles, I don't think it was a good technology, we don't need them? No, we started thinking of ways that we could make vehicles safer. We started thinking of technologies that would improve vehicles and make them not as risky. So that is kind of the same energy I want to bring into today's video, is a very open-minded view of marriage, of creating a home, and one in which you truly start to believe that there are healthy homes out there. There are people who stay together for decades. Success stories do exist, and we need to start focusing on that if we truly want to break out of this broken home cycle. So first off, I just want to let you guys know, if you come from a broken home, I totally empathize with you and I understand how difficult that can be. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It isn't as easy as coming from a home that's healthy, where your parents are still together, where they modeled all those healthy behaviors. No, like, you are going to be walking up a hill to truly get that beautiful love life and family life that you deserve. So just understand that no, it's not going to be a walk in the park, but yes, you can manifest it. You can create that reality for yourself. I want you to realize that your parents are flawed beings, and so are you, so am I. Like, every single human on the planet is flawed, and instead of blaming them for your situation or blaming anyone for your situation, start taking accountability and realize that in any relationship, it takes two to tango. And the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis can either get you one step closer to having a beautiful family life, or it can take you down the rabbit hole of having another broken home situation. People don't just end up in broken family situations. People are making decisions and taking actions every day that are bringing about those results. It is a domino effect of different actions and different behaviors that get you in certain circumstances. So no, you do not come from a broken home because of one thing. There are a multitude of reasons as to why your family life became broken or why your parents became divorced. And I think that understanding that complexity makes you more empathetic to your parents, because it's not just that they made this one mistake in choosing the wrong person, or that they just said this horrible thing during one fight and it caused the demise of the relationship. It's usually a bunch of things, and unfortunately, those things start creating a mountain of negativity that eventually breaks apart a family. Along with realizing that your parents are flawed, that it wasn't just one thing that broke them apart, I now want you to truly start remembering and analyzing their dynamic. And you're probably going to be shocked, or maybe not, to find out that you're probably repeating those same behaviors today in your current relationships, in your past relationships. And it is because naturally, as human beings, we tend to repeat the same dynamics that we saw modeled to us. I go super deep in this in my other video, which is technically a prerequisite to this video, because in that video, I talk about how you can change certain patterns of behavior, and that can truly upgrade your relationship. And that is exactly what my fiance and I did to break out of the narratives that had been put in front of us, to break out of the dynamics that our parents had, and to cultivate the relationship of our dreams. The next thing I want you to do is find at least one couple that you can look up to as a guide, as inspiration. And this is across all boards, right? Let's say that you want to be an NBA player. You're always going to have a mentor or someone that you can look up to as a vision for what's possible, for what you can accomplish. It's not that you're going to just copy them or, become just like them, but it's just showing you that it is possible. And not only are you going to find a couple who's a mentor to you, whether it's online or a neighbor or friends of a friend or a family friend, you have to truly find at least one couple that you look up to and admire. But the next time you're about to get into a rut, I want you to think, what would blank do in this situation? Okay? What would Obama and Michelle do in this situation? I honestly look at Michelle and Obama as like the epitome of a beautiful couple, and I look to them for inspiration on how to deal with things, how to navigate things, how to speak to one another, how to respect one another. So that is an example, but you can choose anyone, and you can now start bringing that energy into your everyday life. How would Obama approach this situation if he had an argument with his wife? The next step, step 3, is to start cultivating the skills that are vital to a healthy partnership. I've done tons of videos on these topics, but let's just go through them one by one. First one is communication. If you don't know how to communicate well, forget it. Partnerships are built on communication. You need to know how to state your needs, how to state your desires. You need to know when to be vulnerable. You need to know when to listen. You need to know how to respond to someone without just reacting. All of these things are important. So I highly encourage you guys to check out some of my communication videos, because I go in depth about those skills and how you can cultivate them. Just a little tidbit, one of the best ways you can learn how to communicate is to communicate more. Start getting out there, start talking to people. Also, the more like you digest information, whether it be listening to a podcast, listening to a video, reading a book, all of this helps boost our communication skills. The next one is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is managing your emotions in a proper, healthy way. Okay, so instead of being passive, instead of lashing out, instead of wanting everyone to be a psychic and figure out what you're feeling, you're actually able to embody that feeling and express what you're feeling when things arise. I have another video on emotional intelligence, which I will link above. The next skill that you must cultivate is conscientiousness. And conscientiousness is very similar to self-awareness. It's like understanding yourself, knowing your own weaknesses, knowing your own strengths, knowing where you fall short. A lot of us think that we're just the best person in the world and we have nothing to improve. Well, let me tell you, if you think that you have nothing to improve, then you definitely don't know what conscientiousness is, because we all have things that we can work on and improve. The other thing is to drop the ego. Okay, enough of this I, me. Being egotistical is when we truly only think about our own selfish needs, and we don't realize we're in a partnership. If you want to create a beautiful, happy, healthy family and home, you need to think of everyone's needs. You need to think of a group interest. It's not just you. Like now when I make decisions in my life, it's not just what's going to benefit Rulla. It's what's the best decision for Shine and I. Shine is my fiance. So like, what's the best decision for the both of us? And that's because I'm not operating out from my ego. I'm operating from my true essence, from like my soul, right? I know that all this ego stuff, that's just games. That's just like comparison games and like trying to up level other people. I know the only work I really need to do is with myself and with the people who truly matter in my life. My family, my partner, my friends, those are really the only things that matter. So when you drop the ego, you realize it's less about you and more about us. The fourth thing that you must do is to get help if you need it, regardless of what anyone thinks. Okay, whether that is therapy, whether that is coaching, whether that is taking a course, whether that is getting mentored by a couple, whether that is like so many things like journaling, talking about your experiences, but mainly getting help with a therapist, because if you come from a broken home, you generally have just a lot of negative feelings attached to the idea of having a family and getting married. I know a lot of people nowadays who just don't ever want to get married, and it's because they have negative feelings attached to that. Like marriage is a negatively charged idea, and you really need to dismantle these beliefs if you truly want to bring about a different reality for yourself. So get the help that you need and do not feel ashamed. Do not feel criticized. You don't even need to tell anyone. Keep in mind, one of my own family members judged me so hard for going to therapy. Like they were like, what do you need that for? Especially because in Middle Eastern Arab culture, therapy is like laughed upon. It's like, oh, mental illness, that doesn't exist. I don't know why. I don't know who came up with these things, but in our culture, it's an ego thing. Like everyone wants to appear that they're so emotionally sound and strong, but truly people are struggling. And so I wanted to break that stigma in my culture and show other people that no, it is okay to get help. It doesn't matter your background. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter if you have experienced something traumatic or not. It is only going to benefit you in the long run. The fifth thing that you can do is to request feedback from your partner. And be willing to actually listen to this, because sometimes we request feedback from people, but then when they start telling us it, we start feeling offended and our ego comes out to play. So truly ask your partner for feedback. Obviously, this is assuming that your partner is like a healthy, sound, mature person who you trust. In that case, it is a really great way to have an open dialogue with your partner and just have like a weekly or monthly check-in and talk about like, hey, how can I improve? How can I do this better for you? How can I support you better? How can I be a better partner? And like more times than not, there's going to be small things here and there that you can do to be a better partner. I know that I definitely went down this route when my partner lost his dad, and I had never been with someone who was undergoing grief. So I asked him a lot, like, how can I be there for you? Like, what do you need in this moment? And your partner will respect you so much for asking for their feedback, for wanting to be a good partner for them. That is just amazing, and it shows that you truly are invested in making and creating a happy, healthy home. The sixth thing is to take time for yourself. Not every day is going to be rainbows and sunshine. Some days we're a little bit more emotional. Some days we're just having a low energy day, and that's completely fine. Start being in tune with your emotions and noticing when you have the capacity to have deep combos and request feedback, and other days you're not going to have that mental capacity. So just be more in tune with yourself. And if you need a day or if you need a minute, take that time for yourself. Focus on self-care, self-love, put yourself first, because until your cup is overflowing, you can't pour into anyone else's cup. The seventh thing that you can do is to approach each day with a new set of eyes. And what I mean by that is you don't want to harbor emotions and bring arguments from last year into today. A lot of couples get into this trap where they let things either boil over, they're being passive, they're not bringing them up as they arise, and then they just explode. Or other partners will apologize and say they're sorry for something, but they truly have not forgiven the person, and later down the line, they'll bring up that issue as if it's unresolved. So please give your partner the benefit of the doubt. If you guys have already hashed something out and agreed on something and moved on, truly move on. Forgive your partner fully. Don't bring last year's issues into this year. Always see each day as a new beginning, a new start. I'm not saying oh, your partner did this horrible thing and cheated on you and was emotionally abusive, then just forget it. I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is if there was an argument and you guys both forgave each other, truly forgive one another. Don't bring that energy into tomorrow. The nice thing about this one is if you've really mastered those skills I talked about, the communication, dropping the ego, conscientiousness, emotional intelligence, you're never really going to be in a situation where you have to bottle things up or where you're still thinking about things months from now. You're going to let things flow through you with ease, and it's going to be so much easier because you're not going to be holding all this tension in your heart. The eighth thing, which is obvious, but I still need to put it in there, is to always continue dating your partner. Show them appreciation. Do the little things. Write the cute little love note. Buy them a birthday card, even if you live together. Get her the flowers. Plan the date. Go on the trip. Continue to prioritize each other and put each other's needs first, because that's one of the main reasons why a lot of people break up, in seemingly happy relationships, is they fall out of love. They grow distant. One goes this way, the other goes that way. They stop prioritizing each other. They stop doing the things that they used to do in the early stages. So one way to combat this is to just always continue dating each other. Always show appreciation for your partner. Pretend like you're still having to win them over, and it's going to create that loving, flirty energy for years and years to come. That's how you keep the honeymoon stage forever. The ninth thing, which is something that I have personally worked on because it's something that I used to not practice when I was younger, is to keep your marital problems or relationship problems or whatever type of relationship you're in to yourself. Okay? Your partnership is a temple. Your friends don't need to know about that weird, awkward thing your partner does. Your mom doesn't need to know about that hurtful thing you said and how you guys worked through it. Work through your problems as a team, one-on-one, or if you're in couples therapy or if you're in a situation like that with a neutral third party, that is okay. But please stop bringing friends and family members into this situation, especially you ladies, us ladies, I should say, because women tend to kind of gossip and bring up their problems as just I don't know why. It's like happy hour chat, oh, what did he do this time? Oh, he left his boxers on the floor and he's not doing laundry. Getting with your girlfriends isn't a reason to just bash your partner or belittle them or put them down. Keep in mind, this is the person that you are gonna potentially spend the rest of your life with. I would hate to be in a marriage where my partner had to go and confide in his boys about how crappy I am at the end of the day. None of us want to be in a marriage like that. We want to be in a marriage where we can tell our friends and family the amazing things our partner is doing and how great he is. And In the past, I had this habit of anything that was going on in our home life, I had to share that. The only person you should be confiding in is them or a therapist, or if you're choosing to leave them, just do it with grace. You don't need the whole world to know their baggage, their trauma. It's just not cute, and it's not helping anyone grow. So please, ladies, stop gossiping or talking down on your man when you're hanging out with the girls, because it's just really a bad look, and those people are not going to look at your partner the same. They're going to have a tainted image of them, and it's just really unfair. Like, I truly believe that no partner deserves to be belittled, especially in rooms that they're not even in. So let's definitely all promise to keep our problems in our own home and to just treat our partnership like a temple. In any relationship, there's always going to be someone who has a bigger home, someone who has a longer vacation, someone who appears more in love, someone who, a couple out there who seems like they have it all together. Instead of focusing on all that, start putting that energy into your own relationship and just watch it flourish, okay? There's always something to be grateful for, and you should not be confiding in friends and family to put your partner down. Last but not least, number 10 is to continue educating yourself, okay? It never ends. It never does. I'm a dating coach, and I'm still watching videos, reading books, listening to podcasts. I know there's always more to be learned. There's more to learn about attachment styles. There's more to learn about communication, about feminine and masculine energies, about all of these things, and I am committed to learning, because I know, like, the more I learn, and not just learn but actually apply the knowledge, like, I have seen my relationship transform. I've seen us grow in terms of how close we are to each other, in terms of like the things we're able to talk about, even like, when you first meet someone, there's a whole list of things that are like off limits, and the longer you're with someone, like, that list should become shorter and shorter and shorter, because you're now like sharing your life with this person, you're sharing your soul with this person, basically. So it's beautiful when you're able to witness that transformation firsthand, as I have. And I know that it wasn't just one thing on this list that I did. It was everything. And it's also my commitment to keep learning, to keep wanting to be a great partner, to keep wanting to learn how I can be a better wife, how I can serve my husband, how I can make our dynamic even stronger, even more robust. When you decide that broken homes are not a cycle, broken families are not a cycle. They are a choice, guys. You have a choice in this, and just because you witnessed that situation growing up, it is not a life sentence for you. You can have a beautiful home. I am sure of it. I'm certain of it. I am wishing you all a beautiful life, and especially one that is full of love and companionship, because as much as people try to push away that idea of marriage and settling down and family, let me just tell you, as a woman who basically has it all, my relationship is like up here in terms of everything else in my life, and I have experienced and achieved a lot in life, but nothing tops having a serene, loving partnership where you are both just committed to the growth. So I hope that this video inspires you. Make sure to subscribe before you head out, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye!